Thanks, Fred. I'm Dan Jablonski, Senior Consultant with Dimensional Insight. We've been talking about migration, getting your Diver users onto the latest technology and adding new users to the fold with Gateway and My Library as your information hub. As much as we like to think of Diver and Measure Factory as your single source of truth, we know you have multiple tools and multiple environments across the organization, and trying to consolidate everything would be a monumental task, even if it wasn't a constantly evolving target. I'd like to spend a few minutes showing you some things DI has done and is working on to help Gateway users coexist with other data products in your ecosystem. DI is taking a two-way approach to integration with third-party tools. First, we think the data you have in Cbases and in Measure Factory should be broadly available both to Diver and Gateway users and other users in the organization that use different visualization tools. And we have enhanced our ODBC access to make it easier to share information. On the flip side, you may already have content developed in other systems and using other presentation tools. If some of that content needs to be shared within Diver, we need to embed all of that so everyone can use a single My Library environment. So let's start with sharing. Measure Factory is designed to be your single source of truth for measures and the data behind them. Presents a variety of measures and KPIs to end users who can ask for them by name and know they're getting consistent, validated information appropriate to their role and access level. That's the secret sauce that makes information so consistent within Gateway. But to achieve that consistency, Factory's results can't be locked away in Gateway. They must be available to everyone. To that end, in 7.1, DI introduced an ODBC driver to allow users to connect to DiveLine and extract data from Spectre and Measure Factory. In 7.2, we've added the ODBC registry to make it easier to roll out the ODBC driver to multiple users for multiple purposes. Registry allows users to see information as a virtual database. Each table is a Cbase, Cplan, or Dive somewhere in Workbench. And the data return will be limited by the user's settings. So here we see the Power BI desktop client with ODBC to Supplier Advisor as its data source. The navigator window comes up, and I can see Measure Factory data and inventory or warehouse data in what looks like a database. I've selected the inventory data. The information is available for preview and ready to load into Power BI. Each of the tables listed here is simply a reference to a Spectre object somewhere in Workbench. In the ODBC Registry tab in Workbench, we point each virtual table to an object somewhere in a Workbench project, and the rest of it just works. Each virtual table a user can see and how those tables are filtered when they access it depends on how you already have those users and files set up for security. On the flip side, you may have existing content from before you started working with Diver or from departments that have not adopted Diver. While we of course encourage you to bring that data into Spectre and Factory, we know that that takes time. We are actively working to make it easier to embed that existing content within Gateway and allow users to access all of their information in Gateway on both the web and on the desktop. So let's take a look. I'll start in Diveport. This is Supplier Advisor with My Library as the navigation system. We've got our standard business review overview. This presents factory-based measures and indicators. You have documentation available using a document library portlet. And I have this additional shelf down here for inventory reporting referencing Power BI. And when I click on that, it'll load like anything else in Diveport, but it's doing some extra work to seamlessly authenticate to Power BI in the Microsoft Cloud and get me my pre-existing inventory report. I can interact with that like I do with Power BI, and then I can return to any other page in the Diveport environment. Everything is just in one place. This also works in the Gateway desktop. Here I've got the same Supplier Advisor site with my library navigation, same business overview. The Gateway desktop handles documentation natively and synced locally to the client. And I have that same Power BI content as well. When I load the Power BI report, Gateway also authenticates to the Microsoft Cloud and brings up that pre-existing inventory report. So we've seen how a Power BI user can access data from DI, and we've seen how Gateway users can view some of their data through Power BI all in one place. Our goal is to make it easy to support both requirements. We want to make information in DI and factory available to all, and we want to make Gateway as flexible an information hub as we can. So Gateway and Measure Factory really make up the platform you need to provide consistent, trusted information to users throughout the organization. But we know that's a big vision, and we know you've got content you want to continue to use. So with DI could be your end-to-end data platform, and with the integration technologies you've seen here, DI has the ability to fit into a broader ecosystem as a core platform for some and a trusted source for others.